So in this video, I want to talk about how to get your artwork noticed. And this is really, really important. And, I've talked a little bit about this subject before, but I want to really zero in and try to convince you of just how important it is to, when you're trying to make somebody love your artwork or to notice your artwork, it's all about the subject matter. So what I mean is if you ever meet somebody and they say, well, I'm not really into art, or I don't really enjoy going to galleries, or whatever it is, but you show that person a painting of something they love, whether it's a dog breed or an airplane they used to fly, or whatever it is, that person will just light up immediately and tell you that they love that painting. And that really goes to the heart of what I want to try to convince you of today. And I want to talk about some ways that you can make sure that you're making this your number one priority. And this all comes from when I teach these private classes here in Austin, and then people come for 6 days, they take my class, and then they show me their work that they do when they go back, back home. And usually that work is something like cell phone pictures of their friend's dog that they sent them, so they decide to paint that, or they are settling for some picture. Friend has a little postcard they like, so they're copying that, or they're doing something that's less than ideal. So in order to make the subject matter the center of your work, you have to have 4 paintings, 3 or 4 paintings being worked on at the same time. So let me explain that. Let's say that you're working on a painting and you've got one on your easel, but then you finish it. If you don't have another painting lined up, if you don't have a canvas, if you don't have a source photo, or figured out how you're going to set up your still life in your shadow box or whatever, if you don't have that lined up, then what you're going to end up doing is settling for something. So you finish your painting, you don't know what to paint next, and so you look around and your friend has sent you this picture of their dog, so you start doing that. And that's really where it all breaks down, because if you have 3 or 4 paintings working, the first one is the one you're working on. The second one, you've already got your materials together, you got your laminated photo. If you're working from a photo, you've already got your canvas stained and it's ready to go. The third one is one that maybe you know what the subject is, but you've ordered your canvas, it hasn't come yet. You've sent off for some prints or whatever you're going to use as your source material, but you're getting your stuff lined up for that third painting so that it's also going to be ready. And then the fourth painting, I would say, is that you've got something in mind that you're going to paint for that fourth painting. And you're not, and what I mean is that you might have, I know I want to do a landscape and I want to do, these series of mountains, but I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it. And then you've got to think about how you're going to compose it, and how you're going to get your prints and make sure your canvas is ordered. So you really have to have 3 or 4 paintings sort of in progress. One of them you're actually working on, and the other ones you're getting ready to work on. And if you don't do that, you end up settling, and you end up doing one painting after another that's some little boring still life or your friend's dog or whatever it is. Instead of painting a cell phone picture that your friend sends of their dog like this, if you were to really think about your subject matter, you'd end up with something like this. And so the difference between this picture and this picture is just night and day. So it's going to reflect in your painting. Now, which painting would you rather do? Would you rather paint this dog, or would you rather paint this dog? Now, never mind that you maybe like Labradors more than the other breed, but my point is that you can see that in this composition that there's a lot more here, and this isn't just something that somebody just snapped. They probably went off into the mountains with their dog and probably took 100 pictures, and this was the very best one. And that's how you work on your subject matter, is you really got to put in the legwork. If you're doing landscapes, you got to get up in the morning and get out in the golden hours when the light's good. If you're doing scenes from downtown, you're out and about with your camera, and you're taking lots and lots of pictures so that you have something to choose from. And that is how the great artists get noticed. Yes, they can paint, but it's really more about their subject matter and their choice of actually what they use as their source material when they're doing their painting. Now, there's several options to go. How do you go about and go out and get good source material? The first one is simply what I said before: to get out there with your camera, to put in the legwork, to get up in the morning, to be out and about in the golden hours in the afternoon, or whatever it is, but you're really out in the field and you're looking for source material. If you're doing people, you're taking lots of people. You're taking them, all day long. You're catching them in their natural environment, but you're doing all that work, and then you're going to go through those 100 or 200 photographs, and you're going to pick the very best one, and that's how you're going to get an interesting painting. So it's really keying in on this importance of source material and know and what your subject is. Now the other thing, there's some new options available. One of the things that you can do is you can get on the internet and just search for a picture that you like. But now you're copying somebody else's work. And there's nothing wrong with that. You could reach out to the artist, and that would be a collaboration with the person who took the picture. The other thing you can do is just use a photograph as inspiration and change it and make it your own. So you might have several pictures of a landscape, and you take a little piece of this one and another piece of that, and kind of mix it up and end up with something quite different than what you worked from. But that's sort of getting into your imagination and doing things on your own. There's nothing in the world wrong with that. You can even look at other paintings and use that as inspiration to do your own painting and just mix it up and change it, make it better even. And then the last option, which is just something new, and I think a lot of you probably have never heard of this before, but within the last year or so, there's new software that's come out that actually uses neural networks and artificial intelligence, and you can type in a series of text and it will generate an image for you, and then you could use that as your source. So I had a friend who did this. He used this software. You just type in words and then it'll generate an image, and you can even ask it to make an image that looks like a painting, and then you can use that source as something to create a painting with, like my friend did here. This is Dan Rader and a painting that he just finished of this seascape, and he just used an image that he got from Midjourney, which is another one. So you might want to go check out the DALL-E 2 and the Midjourney. Just type that into Google and you can find sources for that. And that's where you put in some text and it generates an image for you, and it'll generate just a whole bunch of different images, and you could pick your favorite one and then use that as source material for your painting. Another way to look at this importance of subject matter is to think about something like in music. And I was told one time, I was listening to this guitar player, or a friend of mine was, and he was telling me that this is the best, technically the best guitar player in the world. And I said, I'd never heard of the guy. Well, that's because technically he could play things on his guitar that nobody else could play. He could hit chords and do things that nobody else could do. But that doesn't necessarily mean his music was great. If you listen to it, you'd think, wow, how in the world does he do that? But it's the melody, and it's a beautiful song that's what really makes a difference. So even more important than how well you can play the music is the subject itself, or the melody that you're playing, or the song, or whatever else. One more thing, if you haven't been to GenevaFineArt.com, this is the oil paint that we make. It's solvent-free. It doesn't have any harmful fumes. You don't have to worry about ventilation. It's got the medium already mixed into it, so it's ready to use. It's very slow drying. But go to any one of the paint colors and just scroll down and read the reviews about our paint, because I think they're just off the chart good, and I think people are unaware of just how good our paint is. But if you just go read the reviews, you can hear what everybody's saying about it. And also the easel that we make right here in Austin also. We make everything from scratch. And it's just the #1 easel in the world, the very best paint in the world. We couldn't be more proud of what we're doing. But go check out GenevaFineArt.com, go to any one of the products and just scroll down and you can read the reviews for yourself. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.